I find them absolutely inspiring. Chris came with a group of guys from the VA, just like the fellows that came this morning, and you know, we don't get to know a lot about them before they come, but they just kind of all unload from these big old vans and you know, walk and wheel out to the arena. This one day, this young, good-looking Marine in a wheelchair, you know, he wheels purposely out to the patio and right up the ramp, and he's waiting on us. And so when I get up to the ramp, normally I'm telling a person in a wheelchair, you know, how to mount the horse safely. So, you know, while I'm doing that, I'm tightening the girth and, you know, and adjusting the stirrups and that sort of thing. And so I'm doing that and giving Chris my spiel, and I look up and Chris is already on the horse. And I'm like, okay, all right, so you're a horseman, obviously. He's got the rein, he's holding the reins correctly, and he's looking at me sort of impatiently. And I said, all right, so you've definitely ridden before. What's the scoop with you? And he said, well, ma'am, I was raised on a quarter horse ranch in Texas. My family breeds and raises quarter horses for work and for show and for pleasure. And he said, I'm really anxious to find out if I can go back to work. Gets me, sorry. He was a right leg amputee from about middle of his thigh down, and brain injured. And so he had some balance issues, and of course his injury was only about 2.5 months old. He didn't even have a prosthesis fitted yet. He walked, trotted, and cantered that day, and he was so happy. So happy. And the first thing he did was get on his cell phone after he got off and called his parents and said, you are never going to believe what I just did. And he said, looks like I can come back to work. And it was just it was such a great, I felt so good for him.
My name's Raymond Dodd. I'm a specialist E4 in the United States Army. The IED that I was hit with on August 26, 2006 at 11 o'clock, it blew the truck up. It threw it about 2 feet in the air. We hit the 2 155 rounds. I don't remember much of it. It threw me through the air about 2 feet off the ground, about 20 feet down the road. Blew the front tires off the whole front of the truck. Nobody else in the truck got injured. I was the gunner in the truck. It threw me out and I was hit in the head with the shield in the 240 and my face got burned. Knocked me out. I don't remember much of it. Next thing I woke up was on the Black Hawk. My good friend Rob, at the time I didn't know him, but he was trying to convince me to come up to this program because he knew how much of a good program it was and he knew how much it would benefit me. And it took a lot to get out of the house. It took a lot to do it. It was a big step for me. It was a huge step. Finally, my wife drugged me out of the house and took me down the road and dropped me off with him. And you know, and when I came back, she even said I was a different person. She said I was a totally different person. I seemed happy. I smiled for once.
Sandra's real. She cares about what she does. She cares about us, you know, and you see that as soon as you get off the plane. You know, she's waiting there with open arms and a smile, and you just don't get that from many people, you know. Not many people understand, and it's been the Whitewater, you know, just the programs getting out into this beautiful country. You know, I've never seen country this beautiful.
And thus far, in the couple days we've been here, has just been outstanding. It really means a lot. It means more than you think for psychological therapy as well as, you know, emotional and physical therapies as well. It's needed to get these soldiers either accustomed to civilian life, because it's very hard for military people to deal with civilians on a regular basis. They have to transition, or if they're going to be able to go back into the fight. So, yeah, it's good for organizations to donate. So it's very good.
I rarely take my sunglasses off, so you are lucky.
I wanted to go out of the house. I wanted to go do things. I had a purpose in life again, I felt.
Ashton Keith. I live in Pinehurst, North Carolina. And 4 years ago, my mom just told me that, hey, you're going to Colorado for camping. And I was like, sweet. So I packed all my bags and headed over, and it was awesome, and I came back every year for 4 years. Around here, I can definitely bond with everybody more and relating it because they've been through the same exact thing as I have. It's like, I remember when I was little, going to football practice and just seeing all the kids' dads there, just kind of sucked. You were just like, sucks. My dad passed away June 27th of 2005. I was 8 years old. We lived in Germany on Panzerkaserne base. It was definitely the most hardest thing I've ever been through in my life. Nothing ever is going to compare to it. All the counselors here are amazing. I can definitely see how they try to instill everything in us. The leadership they bring, everything they instill in us is awesome. And because you see them giving their time, it makes you want to give your time back to others. It's just, they're great leaders and just people to look up to, and I look up to all of them.
Back in November 2006, Major Troy Gilbert was killed in Iraq in an F-16 crash. We were friends at Luke Air Force Base at the time, and he has 2 boys that were really close in age to my 2 boys. And during his memorial service, I just really felt the calling to do something for those boys. Through the grace of God and a lot of generous folks and people willing to give up their time, the Knights of Heroes program began in 2007, was our first camp. One of the activities that we do, I think, is the most telling and the most applicable to life lessons is rock climbing. It's amazing. I mean, everyone's afraid of heights. It's the way we're born, and we're supposed to be afraid of heights. It's a natural instinct. But what we teach the boys is they're going to face challenges in life, and if they can learn to control their emotions and control their fear and control their, the way they feel and overcome that, then they can do anything.
2 years before I heard about the program, I lost my husband when he died in a plane crash. And his backseater had 2 twin daughters. And when I heard about the program, all I could think was how awesome would it be if they had a program like that to get involved with as they got older. So many of them came last year and hadn't really ever had the opportunity to do outdoor stuff, or the only person they did outdoor stuff was with their dad. And so for us to be able to provide that experience for them, certainly not the same, but kind of lets them have experiences they wouldn't otherwise have. We really use rock climbing to try and help them see that they can, 1, trust other people, and 2, that they can really do a lot more than they think they can do.
We're pilots in the 457th Fighter Squadron, and we all fly F-16s in the unit. I absolutely love every one of these boys like they were my own sons. And I think that, in essence, to me, is really what this is all about. And it's something that may not stick with them when they go home, maybe next week. But it is my hope that in 5, 10 years, when they look back, that they look back at some of the folks that they have met, the mentors, and they realize that there are people in this life that love me, regardless of where I came from, regardless of who I am, and regardless of the circumstances that have unfolded in my life. And so for me, it's very simple. It has everything to do with honoring the men and women that have lost their lives, and I can think of no greater way to honor that memory than to care for their children. Very simple.
The Star Foundation has been very generous to us, and obviously they recognize the needs and the importance of those needs for our military service members. They've helped us and numerous other organizations like us that are veteran service organizations help provide much needed services for injured service members and their family members all across the United States. Without funders like them, we would not be here.